Hi, I'm Cheryl with Cheryl.wTf, and I'd like to welcome my very first guest for Speed Consulting with Cheryl, Bill Habib with Habib Law in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Today, we'll be talking about marketing through business networking, social media marketing, and lead generation.
My business model has been the old standard law business model of word of mouth. And I did that honestly until I joined BNI, and then I started networking. But I've never really advertised. Well, we advertised when I was in a small firm. We advertised a little bit. We didn't really get much result out of it. But on my ride into Philadelphia yesterday to see my son, there's a new person, new lawyer, who has gone full out on billboards. I've never seen the guy before. I never heard of the guy before. He had, from, say, Bensalem to Philadelphia, 15 billboards. I mean, he was every other one.
Wow.
And they were all a little bit different. And it was like, this guy's really, someone's told him this is going to work. And, you see the other billboards for the typical ones, Morgan & Morgan and Awan and Joe, the workers' comp people. But he's like, he's doing this. He's a personal injury guy. So I wondered how he's going to do this. So that's interesting. I'm wishing him good luck.
Yeah. Boy, that's a big expense, that many billboards.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even one like in town, I'm like, oh, there's a billboard. I didn't even know a billboard would be there. And there he was. So.
Right. Wow. Well, good for him. Yeah. I hope it helps.
Yeah. Saturating the market
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no, I don't have any questions. I'm interested to hear how this works and what's going on and what you do.
All right. So what we're going to do, it's basically rapid fire. We're recording this. I'll send you a copy of the recording. So don't worry about taking notes. You can kind of go back and do that later.
Thank you.
Yep. And the goal is for me to deliver just as much information and value to you in 15 minutes as possible.
Excellent.
So let's give it a go. What's your first question?
So these are all my questions, right? Mm-hmm. So, my question is, if you, in networking, other than BNI, what other things should I be doing to expand my business?
Okay. Within the world of networking as opposed to marketing?
Within the world of networking.
Okay. All right. So obviously, just meeting as many people as you can. And there's lots of places where you can find networking events, chambers of commerce. There's some different organizations in the area that run networking events. And there are a bunch of networking groups in the area that are not seat specific, which means that it's okay for you to participate in them while also being a member of BNI. BNI does have a rule that you're not to participate in another seat specific networking group while being a member of BNI because it creates a conflict for referrals.
Okay.
So, start seeking out some of those networking groups that are in the area. Talk to other members of BNI because a lot of them do participate in some of these other groups. And, you can start to find them. You can also look them up on Facebook and you can find some of them that way as well. When you're meeting with people and doing your networking, two key things you want to make sure you ask them. One, where else do you know? Because that'll be one of your ways to find out where some of these other groups are or events. And two, who can you introduce me to? And have a list of the types of people you want them to introduce you to. And if you do that every time you network, most of the time they're going to introduce you to at least one people. And that really keeps the flow of networking calls going. And you can have a never ending flow of calls to network with people by doing that. Okay. And then of course, make sure that you've set aside time in your schedule to do those networking calls. So bake that into your schedule that, you're going to set aside X number of hours a week to build your business rather than work in your business.
Okay. Secondly, social networking or so, being online. What can I do other than Facebook? And I have both a personal and a business Facebook page. What else should I be doing?
So obviously, as a lawyer, you've got to be careful what you post on social media. I'm sure you're aware of that. And you could be on any of the social platforms. Pick the ones that feel most right to you, because obviously, as an attorney, your customers or potential customers are everywhere. So there's not really a right or wrong platform as far as finding your target market. So use the ones that feel right to you, but there are some that are a little stronger than others. So these days, TikTok is getting the most reach. So if you can do video, TikTok's actually a really great place to be, because you're going to get in front of more people, more eyes on your videos than you are on any other platform right now. And be entertaining if you can. Think about, what does your target consumer want to hear and learn? Because if you're going to put out a lot of information that is very legalese and technical, that's probably not going to appeal to your average customer. So you want to think about, what can you do and how can you make it approachable for them? And also be really clear, who are you targeting? Are you putting things out on social media to directly target your customer, or are you putting things out on social media to target possible referral partners? Because that content might be different.
Yes. Oh, I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah. So, if you want other attorneys to refer business to you, for example, maybe they're in a different niche, then obviously you're going to want attorney-driven content. But if you want your consumers, you're going to want, content in layman's terms.
Okay, great. Okay, third question, and I had it in my head, and now I think I've lost it. I'll come up with it. With regards to marketing, what should I be doing to market the business?
Well, you've got a lot of options there. And one of the biggest things to remember is, don't try to do everything.
Yes.
Because you could spread yourself too thin. So, obviously, if money's no object, there's plenty of types of paid advertising you can do. There is your old school commercials that you can run still on television. That's going to be a weaker place than it used to be, because a lot of people have disconnected from cable. There's still radio ads, and that's still a thing. And you still have people who do listen to radio channels. And, I think that's gotten a bit more affordable. There's print publications. There are still people who read local newspapers. There's also some local community papers. And there's still people who pick those up. So there's definitely still some print options available. Digital is definitely kind of the place where most people live. It's where they consume most of their content. So digital is probably your strongest option. And now there are paid advertisements available through digital. Through every social media platform, you can do what's called boosting posts in order to get them in front of more people. And then there's also paid advertisements through Google. So that's kind of your paid world. There's also paid ads on various websites and publications and newsletters where you can target different people. Within, the world of free, make sure you've got a Google listing. You definitely want to have a Google listing, and make sure you're driving people to Google to write reviews. If a BNI member gives you a testimonial, ask them to go to your Google review site and write up the testimonial there and send them the link. Do that in an email, send them the link, say, hey, would you mind just, what you said today was really great. Could you put that on Google for me? So you definitely want to have Google, you want to have Google reviews. And the Google paid ads, can be really, really powerful. They work really well for a lot of people, because people are going to search for, attorney near me. And that's where those Google ads really come in valuable. And you pay per lead they give you, which is also nice. You can set a budget. And if your phone rings through that Google ad, that's when you pay for it. As opposed to, a pay per click or just a pay for view. So pay per lead is a little bit nicer. And then, there's marketing on social media itself. And social media, you really want it to be content marketing, not the hard sell. So nobody really wants to see that billboard-like ad on their social media. They just ignore it. On social media, people want to learn who you are, what you do, and grow to trust you. So it's all about, personality and providing valuable content. So that's going to be videos talking about different legal situations. That could be memes. It could be a link to an article that you've published somewhere. And you could publish articles on your own website on a blog, or there are just tons and tons of publications out there where you can publish to as well. Some of them legal specific and some of them just generic.
In the world of legal, I get a lot of emails from companies that say, we provide you with personal injury cases. We need someone in your area to do these. We understand you do that. Let's talk about this. Now, I've talked to those people in the past. They seem expensive. What do you know, if anything, about those kinds of companies?
So obviously you're going to want to vet any of those companies really, really carefully, because obviously you've got some that are scams and some that are legitimate. The legitimate ones, a lot of times they're doing content marketing. They're publishing articles through websites on various topics. So people are going searching. They've got a legal situation. They're looking for some information before they contact an attorney, maybe to determine if they even have something worth bothering an attorney with. And so, these companies are doing things like that to generate leads. And if you've ever gone to any of these websites, you hit the article, it's got some good information, and there's a little chat box that pops up saying, do you need help with a legal matter? And that's a lot of times how they're generating those leads, and they're vetting it for you. So a good quality company that's doing that, it may be worth the expense, because what they should be doing is vetting those leads to ensure that they are genuine, that there is somebody who's a real person who has a real problem, and that problem is appropriate for you to solve. So, tread carefully, do your research, and kind of weigh out, what's that expense versus how much you stand to earn from the case.
Are you familiar with the company Avo? Avo contacts me all the time. It sounds to me like Avo is a Google-like online service. Do you know them, and are they good?
I am not familiar with them, so unfortunately, I can't give you specific information on them.
It might be a legal only source. I'm not sure. I did pay for them for a while, got very little out of it, and so I kind of discontinued it. But okay.
Yeah, one of the other things I do know about the lead generation companies is sometimes they'll have a territory and they'll have a couple of people in that territory paying for leads, and sometimes how many leads you get depends on how much you buy in. So let's say there's 3 people in Bucks County, and one person has set a budget of $300, another person set a budget of $200, and you set a budget of $100. The person with the budget of $300 is going to get every lead until that $300 is exhausted. And then the second person is going to get leads until their $200 is exhausted for that month. And then if there are still any leads to be had after that's been exhausted, then the person who's bought in at $100 is going to be referred leads. So even though you might all be paying the same amount per lead, the person with the higher budget is going to get the priority. So that's something to consider too, and make sure that you find out if that's their model.
All right, that sounds fair. My last question is, I use the Bucks County Lawyer Referral Service is a big provider for me in my business, and they kind of seem like that kind of a company, and you kind of pay per case. Do you know anything about them, and what you think about the Bucks County Referral Service?
I'm not familiar with them specifically. The fact that they are so locally based definitely bodes well for a lead referral generation. I would certainly have a level of trust with that automatically much higher than some unknown company who's maybe working all over the country. So that's probably a stronger possibility. And with any of the lead generation, I would definitely go with a company that is pay per lead. Because then you at least know you're getting value for your money.
They're actually pay per case. I mean, if I actually get the case and make money, they get a percentage. And because it's
Even better.
because it's a bar association, they're
Yeah.
allowed to do that. Otherwise,
Yep.
you're not allowed to share fees with anyone else. But like anything else, 80% of what they give me does not turn into anything because either the person doesn't follow up or it's not really a case or whatever. But that doesn't mean I have gotten decent cases out of them in the past. Okay.
Yeah.
There are my questions.
And those leads, if you're running, an email newsletter or your social media or something like that, try to capture them as somebody who's going to follow you. And consume your content in the future, because even though they don't have a case today, 5 years from now, they might have a case, and you want them to remember your name and call you back directly. And you want them to tell other people about you. So take that opportunity to try and build some rapport with that lead. Even if it doesn't turn into a case, you might be able to turn them into an ally who can send you referrals.
That has always been my practice. Why I will take cases, why I will take phone calls when I know it's not going to be a case, because they will call me back if I give them some good advice. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got a couple minutes here, so I'd throw a few more tips out. Because you're a member of BNI, make sure you're maximizing the leverage that you have within BNI, because not every chapter has an attorney in your category. So, make sure you're going to visit other chapters that don't have that category filled whenever you can, and start building relationships and doing one-to-ones with people in that chapter, because then you can capture those referrals as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And network with other attorneys. Absolutely network with other attorneys. I mean, I was looking for an attorney a few months ago, and, my way to find an attorney was to go and talk to all the attorneys that I already knew.
Right.
And ask them for referrals. And that worked out really well for me. And it ultimately got me to the one that I needed. And, I trusted those referrals more so than just from any other person in my network, because, the profession, you're more likely to have vetted another attorney and know that, yes, they're good at what they do. They specialize in the area. You need that specialization. So definitely, build a really good network of attorneys that you can refer business back and forth in different niches.
Yeah, I do try to do that, but going to the other BNIs might be a good idea.
Absolutely. And make sure you're scheduling one-to-ones with people coming out of that BNI meeting, because just attending the meeting isn't enough. You've really got to get that one-on-one connection with them so that you stick in their mind and they remember who you are. And then, offer to sub, because that gets you back into that chapter more often.
Sure. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I think that was a really good set of questions.
Well, good. I'm glad. I wasn't.
So, Bill, after we talked, I had yet another idea for you. So here's your bonus content. You do really funny commercials every week for BNI. So I would like for you to take 30 seconds after a meeting and record your commercial and post it to Facebook. And now for your extra bonus, I want you to find 9 people who would be willing to share your videos. And in the comments each week, I want you to tag 3 of them. Ask them to like your video and share it, and I'm willing to be your first of 9 people.
You blow my mind. You blow my mind. You blow my mind. You blow my mind.